Is going to be by the time we have that World Cup final. But who knows? We're all waiting for Kawhi, and supposedly the last meeting, right, that Kawhi was going to take was going to be with Toronto. This is video of what we believe to be Kawhi landing in Toronto. We've got the helicopter footage, and fans got all presumptuous, and now they're outside of a hotel, and they're waiting, and they're stalking, and they've got their phone out. Everyone awaiting the impending decision. Will Kawhi stay in Toronto or take his services elsewhere? It's almost as if the folks in Toronto didn't listen to the mayor when he was like, don't be thirsty when it comes to Kawhi. Just like pump the brakes and let the man be. NBA insider Brian Windhorst is joining us now. Wendy, can you kind of handicap the race for Kawhi right now at this moment?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that's becoming clear, if in a situation where there's very few clear things, is the Toronto Raptors are a certainty for Kawhi. He knows exactly what they're going to be. When he goes and re-signs there, it's a championship team. He knows who all his teammates are going to be. They can fall right back into it. They will be the title favorite. Probably the most interesting piece of information I have heard about this whole process, and there hasn't been much, is that Kawhi reached out to Kevin Durant before he committed to going to Brooklyn. And the only place that could have been to team up would have been the Clippers, because the Lakers wouldn't have had the space. And the Raptors wouldn't have the space, and even in a sign and trade, I don't think KD was going to go to Toronto. So I think what he's looking at is he has some uncertainty. He doesn't know how the Lakers can build and how they can mesh together. He doesn't know if the Clippers would be able to use their assets to trade for a second star that would compete in today's NBA. And he does know what the Raptors have. And I think that's what he is coming to terms with as he goes through this process, which is looking to be completing with a meeting with the Raptors today.
For the sake of conjecture, because that's essentially where we're at right now, let's say he does sign a deal with the Raptors, a short-term deal, if you will. How would that potentially impact his future with any LA team? Yeah,
so I would say that if he does indeed decide to return to the Raptors, that's a step in the process today. And their entire team is essentially only signed through next season. It would potentially make a lot of sense to go short, as you mentioned. And then he could see what happened with the Clippers and the Lakers over the next year. The salary cap is expected to jump again, and both teams, depending on how they format their maneuvers, could potentially have the space to go back, and he could have a completely different analysis a year from now. I know that would make Lakers and Clippers fans pull their hair out, but that is an option for him to go to here. The safety choice is the Raptors, and that's what he's looking square in the eye today. But I would not overreact to him having this meeting. I would not make any assumptions that just because he's in Toronto to sign.
He's allegedly in Toronto, or at least someone with some braids and a nice caravan of SUVs is in Toronto with a plane.
That's how I arrive in Toronto all the time. I don't know about you.
100%. That looked like Pearson to me, so I don't know. Brian Windhorst joining us to break down what we assume is...
So maybe we will get some big news today. After meeting the Lakers and Clippers, Kawhi promised the Raptors he would give them the last chance for the final pitch. It's believed that the NBA Finals MVP was on a private plane owned by the organization, which touched down in Toronto today. You see the SUVs? The Lakers, Clippers kept their meeting under wraps. The speculation in Toronto of Kawhi's arrival drew fans who were lined up outside this Toronto hotel that's believed to be the meeting place for Kawhi and Raptors management. No truth that they were thinking Jay Williams was inside that hotel, because he joins us from New York as Jay's on SportsCenter. So if Kawhi returns to Toronto, how do you view their chances of repeating as champs?
No doubt they would be the favorite considering to Vegas, but I would say this. I still think that Philly is probably in that lead position with Milwaukee once again. And Kawhi Leonard also did load management a lot last year, and he played in a very superb way, Kevin. He was tremendous last year. You're hoping on the growth of guys like Pascal Siakam. You're hoping that Kyle Lowry can maintain playing at a high level. Marcus Gasol, he's a year older. How will that play out? Serge Ibaka, he's a year older. How will that play out? I don't know if I have Toronto coming out of the East, but I know they would still be the favorite at the beginning of the year.
Okay, with that in mind, we're 3 days into free agency. It's been a memorable one. A quick look at the moves around the league, and let's stay in the East, starting with the Celtics. They lost Kyrie and Al Horford, but added Kemba Walker and Enes Kanter. Did Boston get better in your mind?
No, they did not. Their culture got better. I think their chemistry will get better, but ultimately I think losing Al Horford really hurt them. Now, they have a lot of big-time wings. Jaylen Brown needs to step up. Jason Tatum had a sophomore slump. Kemba Walker's incredible. But Al Horford was the glue to this team. Without Al Horford, they can still win a lot of games, but Al Horford was the missing link.
You mentioned Horford. Now he's in Philly. The Sixers, they lost Jimmy Butler and J.J. Redick, but they kept Tobias Harris. They add Horford and Josh Richardson. Did Philly get better?
No, and I segue there for you, Kevin Nagande. I know the TV game and how it works. I will say this. Them losing Jimmy Butler, he was their closer. Who's going to be the guy to close games? This comes down to a bigger conversation about the 76ers. Can Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid coexist on a championship team? I don't think so.
I like this game, by the way. The Bucks kept Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, but they lost Malcolm Brogdon. Did the Bucks get better in your mind?
They did not get better. Malcolm Brogdon, the guy with 50, 40, 90. He's one of the few players in NBA history to do that. Now puts in questions about Eric Bledsoe, other guys. I know they have some guys that can step up and knock down shots on this team. Now you need Chris Middleton to be great all the time. I still think they can win the East, though.
Okay. You said no, no, and no. And
Yes.
I know you're a glass half full kind of guy. So
I am.
Which team got better this offseason in the last 3 days?
The Utah Jazz. Get in Mike Conley. People have not seen him in a while because he's been down in Memphis. You get a guy like that could go along with Donovan Mitchell, who had a sophomore slump last year too. And then I'm telling you right now, bogey. Bogdanovich last year for the Indiana Pacers single-handedly kept the Pacers at the 3 seed after Victor Oladipo went down. You bring him to the table. This team has the size. They have the length. They have Rudy Gobert. I love the way they are.
Okay,
They're built
but
to get to the
are they
Western Conference
championship
Finals.
level in your mind?
They get to the Western Conference Finals. I still have Denver as the favorite coming out of the West.
Okay, that could all change if Kawhi decides to go to the Lakers. So we'll see how that plays out.
There you go.
Jay Will, appreciate the time. Now, Woj did tweet about a signing this afternoon in the East. It's not Kawhi. Former Sixers guard T.J. McConnell has agreed to a 2-year, $7 million deal with the Pacers. The undrafted McConnell played 4 years in Philly, averaging 6 points and 5 dimes as a backup. And something about T.J. and Indiana. Once it becomes official, the Pacers will have all 3 active NBA players named T.J. along with Leaf and Warren.
Wow.
In fact, only 4 players named T.J. have ever played an NBA game. And as for the 4th, T.J. Ford, he played 3 seasons for the Pacers back in 2008 to 2011. After meeting with the Lakers and Clippers, it's believed that Kawhi was on a private plane owned by the Raptors, which landed in Toronto this afternoon. Kawhi promised the team that he would give them the final pitch before he would make his final decision. Fans now, they lined up outside a Toronto hotel as there was speculation that Kawhi and his people were meeting with Raptors management. So while everybody's been keeping it quiet in the circle when it comes to the Lakers and Clippers that got out in Toronto, and fans not holding back, Jalen Rose joining us now. And you have ties, Jalen, to Toronto, and you had a lot to say about Kawhi just an hour ago on Get Up. What are you hearing right now about where Kawhi could go?
And Kawhi Leonard is almost like penetrating Fort Knox as it relates to information. His camp and the teams, as you mentioned, have done a terrific job of keeping things really on the hush-hush. But what I'm hearing is there's a 99% chance that he's not only going to stay in Toronto, but he's going to do it for a 2-year deal. If that's the case, that'll put him at 10 years of service. At that point, he'll be at a different level of eligibility as it relates to a supermax contract. And so, again, I believe that the Clippers were definitely in play along with the Lakers. He met with them out of all due respect. But they didn't necessarily have the firepower, the Clippers, I think, to pair with Kawhi. That helped sway his decision, in my opinion. But also, we never know what they might do now. They might all of a sudden feel a sense of desperation, and you might now all of a sudden have Woj on TV breaking that the Clippers are trading what they need to trade to try to acquire Kawhi. It's never done until the player signs on the dotted line, but that's where we stand right now.
And right now, 99%, according to you, you believe he's going to stay in Toronto if he does stay with the Raptors. After watching the Bucks, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Nets make major moves the last couple of days, how do you view the Raptors in the East as defending champs?
Oh, they definitely got to be in the conversation, Kevin. The Bucks have Giannis, who's going to continue to improve, re-sign Middleton, re-sign Lopez, but they lost Brogdon. For Toronto, they basically can bring back their core 7 of players. And Kyle Lowry broke out of his playoff slump and played terrific. Fred VanVleet became one of the best 6 men and backup point guards in the game that could close. Pascal Siakam, the league's most improved player. And Masai Ujiri doing a terrific job of pressing all of the right buttons, in particular adding a Marc Gasol.